Welcome to part 2 of sampling the Roland TR-707 and into the MPC Live 2. I'm Sensei, and we're going to go ahead and proceed to edit the samples. So I've already got them loaded. We're going to go to the main menu, hit Sample Edit. You can see the sample right here. I can adjust it if you want to see more detail. All right, what we want to do now is we're going to take the sample and we're going to go ahead and process it. You're going to select on the menu Normalize, go ahead and do it. And now you can see it's quite a bit larger. You can actually see a lot of detail in here. All right, and turn this down a little because it's going to be a lot louder. All right, so now what we want to do is I'm going to manually go ahead and drag this over. I want to truncate this sound, so we'll adjust for that. Think about there should be good. And what we can do is we can set this to be on a loop mode. All right. So it's back to 0 so you can see it. All right. And we'll go ahead and process that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and this will discard the data between the start and end points, so we don't want to do that. Just kidding. Actually, sorry, I misread it as I was going through. This will discard the data beyond the start and end points, so this is what we want to do. So we're going to hit Do It. Now, we've basically extracted the endpoints, so now we have a nice clean sample. Nice and short. And we can go ahead and assign this to a pad. So later we can come back and hear that, but for right now. All right. And we're just going to go through and proceed to edit the rest of the samples in much the same way. So I'll do a few and then we'll kind of pause the video so you don't have to go through the whole process. So we're going to hit Process, Normalize, bring this over. And again, there's ways to have it more automated, but I kind of like to do the hands-on, kind of pick where I want it to be exactly. Think about there. Cycle on. Okay, we're going to process that. Discard. It's good. I'm going to assign that. All right. And so on. All right, we'll do speech drum 1, 2. Huh. I guess it's going according to alphabetical. I was going to hit the snare drum next. So I'm going to go ahead and do it in the order that I want. So we'll go ahead and do this one. Oh yeah, cycle on, forget about that. And we'll go ahead and sign that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video right now so that we can jump ahead, but we're gonna go do this with all the samples. Okay, we're on the high tom right now. Rim shot. Okay, so we finished going through all the samples. For those astute watchers out there, you might have noticed that I left off the crash on the right, I think, on the first sample through, so I fixed that. We're going to go ahead and assign now the samples to the pads. So we're on our track. We're going to go, we switch this over to drum track. We're on program 1 here. And, oops, undo that. Keep it to 1. And then we're going to go ahead and do assign samples. And basically, I've kind of got it set where I'm kind of going from left to right, but I got a little pattern, so we'll just kind of do that. So, bass drum 1, we're going to go ahead and set, let's see, snare drum 1, boom, snare drum 2, and so forth. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pause it, get to the end, so you don't have to watch me do it again. All right, we're going to take our hi-hat, and then we should be left with just our crash and ride cymbal. So we want to take our crash one, and we'll take our ride. And by the way, if you make a mistake and put something in the wrong place, we'll just do that. You can always hit clear pad and it'll erase it and you can put a new one in. All right, so now I believe we have it the right way. You can see everything's lit up over here. So hopefully that's correct this time. Go ahead and save it. And let's go back to where we were. All right, looks good. So, all right, we're gonna now go ahead and just rename it real quick. So let's call this TR-707. All right. And we'll go ahead and save that. All right. And like I said, they all should be working. All right, so there you have it. We've successfully imported in classic drum machine sounds into the AKAI, created a new kit. We went ahead and truncated everything to keep the samples nice and short, even though, you know, we can get away with a little more sample time these days than from the 80s. One thing that you might have noticed, and it's a good point if I didn't really think to comment on it earlier, when I did go ahead and normalize all these, one of the things is sometimes you'll have a sample that was very quiet and it fully extends it out. And other times you had a sample that was, you know, maybe halfway there and it didn't go as much. So basically the volumes of these are now going to be at different levels than the original drum machine had. We can go ahead and adjust for that. We can go and, you know, in the pad mixer, we can actually adjust all the levels and everything to balance it out to what the drum machine was at. Another way that I could have approached it, and maybe it would have been better for this, is when you're in the sample editing and you go into process, instead of normalizing, there is another function you can do, which is changing the gain. And the changing the gain, basically the nice thing with that is it does it by a uniform amount. These would be in decibels. So you can kind of experiment. The only problem is if you go this route is you're going to have to figure out what is your loudest sound starting and how much gain can you give it so that you don't exceed the threshold. So let's just say for argument's sake that was 6 decibels. Then if that's the case, then hit do it for each of the samples and just keep that all the way through. Then all the samples will be consistently raised at the same amount of volume. But I like to kind of maximize them out and then go ahead and adjust them to my liking with the volume curves in the mixer, like the pads. So anyway, different approaches. Again, the nice thing about the MPC, you can do it a lot of different ways and kind of come to similar end results. So I think that should do it for this. So Sensei out, and happy drumming.